Hello, time for another episode of Christmas baking. Today, I'm going to try to make gingerbread cake pops because I really like the flavor of gingerbread. But gingerbread cookies are hard as a rock and they're okay sometimes, but having gingerbread in cake form is like an unparalleled experience in my opinion. So here's the recipe. I've already done the sizing down math and I will meet you in the kitchen after you view that. Welcome to the kitchen. First things first, as always, measuring time. Here are all the ingredients: flour, molasses, water, vanilla, brown sugar, baking soda, cinnamon, cloves, ginger, salt, butter, eggs. All right, so everything's measured. I do want to note that I did use whole wheat flour, and that's not because I am a paragon of health, but it's because I ran out of all-purpose flour. So I'm just replacing it and hoping for the best. So it's time to start preparing the batter. But first, okay, first things first, preheat the oven and prepare a cake pan. So this is a 4-inch cake pan. I have determined that it wants about 150 grams of batter. So that's the size that I adjusted the recipe to. I used an article to sort of figure out that that's how much batter should go in a pan about this size. I will link that below, and I put parchment paper in it. So I have these really cute 4-inch parchment rounds that fit perfectly in the bottom of this pan. And then I have this parchment reel. What would you call this? I don't know. But I cut out about as much as the pan needs and I put it around the sides, so hopefully it won't stick to the pan. As far as preparing the batter goes, I have to whisk the flour together with all the spices and all that stuff, and then mix in the water with the molasses because it's too sticky and not really workable for a batter in this state. So the recipe says if you mix it with hot water, it will combine with the batter better. So I'm gonna do that. And then I have to cream together the butter and brown sugar, and then add in the egg and vanilla and mix all those until combined, and then alternate the dry ingredients with the molasses water one at a time until the batter is complete. So let's get baking. So that needs to bake for 35 minutes. And in the meantime, I'm going to make some frosting that I will need to help me shape the cake into cake balls for cake pop. Normally I do, for my buttercream frosting, for the fats, I do 50% shortening, 50% coconut oil, and then I add the powdered sugar in. But because I'm not gonna need to be piping this, and I'm only using it for helping me get a consistency that will keep the ball in a ball, I'm just gonna use coconut oil because it's easier to mix by hand. So I hope that turns out okay. Alright, so the frosting is prepared. It's a very tiny amount of frosting, but that's because I'm only intending to make 2 cake pops. So I think for that amount, this is probably more than enough. So I guess I should probably taste it to see if it's okay. And since I'm the only person that's going to be eating this, I'm just going to lick the spoon and save dishes. I love it. Other people probably would not, but I like it. So that's what matters. All right, so now I just have to wait for the cake to be done, and then it'll be time to crumble it all up, put this icing in it, and roll it into little balls. Here it is. It smells really good. I'm very excited. Gonna try and take it out, see how well this parchment thing worked. It's kind of hard to deal with a pan this small, and I'm being really impatient and doing this when it's too hot because I'm ridiculous. Okay. Dude, it came right out. Oh, magnificent. Here's our little cake. Looks fabulous. So I'm gonna take a circle cutter to cut the edges off because those are a little crunchier than the inside, and I think it deteriorates the quality of the cake pop. I don't want those little hard bits in my cake pop. I should wait to do this when it's not so warm because then it would be easier, but I'm not that worried about the integrity of the shape, and I'm impatient, so I'm just gonna do it now. So I got this off, and then I kind of need to cut the top off as well. If it were a little taller, I could use this as a guide, but it wasn't quite, cake wasn't quite tall enough for that to work. So I'm just gonna have to guess, but it's okay, because like I said, we're crumbling this all up anyway. Get out a bowl to put it in, and then just cut these hard bits off. And that's sort of an issue on the bottom. The bottom is not really hardened in the same way, so I'm just gonna say that's fine and put that in the bowl, and that's gonna be what we have to make our cake pops. And now I get to try some of these scraps, which is the best part. Blissful. Okay, so I'm gonna let this cool a little bit, and then it'll be time to do the crumbling and rolling. Okay, so that was kind of a mess. I think the cake was too warm because I was too impatient, and using just coconut oil in the frosting was probably a mistake because even though it was easier to mix up, it melted really fast in my hands and when it touched the warm cake. So you live and you learn, I guess, but I did the best I could, and they are cooling right now in the freezer. So it's time to melt the chocolate and then try to dip them in the melted chocolate, which I'm nervous about because every other time I've done this, all 3 times, this part never goes well for me. So here's hoping it somehow magically works better this time, but I'm gonna predict there's like a 90% chance that it's gonna fall off the stick into the chocolate and be really embarrassing, but if it happens, you'll see it because I'm raw and authentic, baby. Well, here they are. They're not very pretty. They're definitely not like Instagram worthy, but there's something, so at least there's that. Okay, so the decorating portion of this obviously did not go very well. Definitely would call this somewhat of a failure, especially relative to my cookies. Though those were not perfect either, these are exceptionally not perfect. I had some difficulties when I was melting the chocolate. I messed it up twice, but then I finally got it correct in a good consistency. But the dipping did not go well, as it never does, because I'm always torn between not wasting a bunch of chocolate, but needing more so that I can have enough depth to sufficiently cover the cake pop. And these did not come out very smooth, and they never do for me. But hopefully over time, that will improve. And I also think I did not use sprinkles that are very cute. I think I should have used the sanding sugar type things. I have red and green ones of those. I don't know why I use these. Well, I use them because they're homemade sprinkles, and I was very proud of them, but they kind of look bad on here. So, you know, not very thrilled with the way they turned out visually. Not everything can be a perfect success, you know? That's the journey of learning. But maybe they will taste good. I mean, I already knew that the cake tasted good, so how does it taste in cake pop form? That's almost good enough to override the fact that they look so bad. I mean, they're not the best things in the world. I'm not trying to make that claim, but I really like that it's gingerbread flavored and not just vanilla flavored. I think that's nice and fun and spicy and sexy. So could have gone better, but it could have gone worse. I'll say that. It definitely could have gone worse. So anyway, thanks for watching and subscribe for more baking adventures.